Hello guys, and welcome to this special video. In this particular video, I want to talk about the number one subject, which I'm sure you deeply care about. Well, I think most of you deeply care about, which is oil prices, crude oil prices, and of course, gas prices. Because as I'm sure you know, gas prices have been going through the roof. Fuel prices, that's what I'm talking about. And pretty much a lot of people are suffering right now with the high cost of fuel and gas. But is there going to be some kind of a top? Is there going to be some kind of peak at some point in the oil prices, and indeed some kind of, and again also in fuel prices? Will there be some relief for everyone out there? We're going to talk about this in this video with Charlie Burton. Join me. All right, guys, welcome back. So in this video, we're going to talk about, again, as I mentioned before, the cost of fuel, and indeed, most importantly, what the charts of crude oil prices say about the future, or at least the short term and the near term, or indeed the long term picture on oil as well. We'll talk about it with Charlie. And guys, before we dig into the charts with Charlie Burton, let me also mention that Charlie has a brand new service out, which I highly recommend you check out. Again, it's 30 days free access. Did I mention it's free? Okay, so it's 30 days free access to Charlie's service, which you can get access to on charlieburtontrading.com/LTGold. More about that later. Okay, so Charlie, this is an important issue because, I mean, most of us certainly, I mean, I've been astonished by some of the oil price, well, the fuel prices I've seen in the UK, almost £2 now. I mean, it is almost £2, £2 British, which is, I think, in the US.
I've just been out there. It's about $5.50 to $6.
Yeah.
It seems.
Right.
Yeah.
So you were driving, right? You went on a road trip in the US, so you had to constantly fuel up, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
We were fueling up. I mean, depending on where we were, depending on, California is more expensive than some other places, but yeah. Yes, certainly when I was over there, that's a lot of the talk was about fuel prices because they're such a big driving nation, aren't they?
Yeah. So shall we talk about, let's dig into the charts now. Let's have a look.
Yeah.
And let's see what the charts of oil are saying to us. And by the way, guys, some people may say, well, oil price is not the same thing as fuel prices. That's true. There's a lag. Often there is a lag between the two. Nevertheless, there's definitely correlation, and there's definitely going to be pressure on fuel prices no matter what happens to the, again, oil prices. Okay. So Charlie, what do you think?
Okay, what I don't know where to start. So, I mean, one thing to really note, just as an overall observation, if you look at this entire chart, this is a weekly chart of oil, and there's been little pockets of larger weekly bars, whether it's back down here when we've had volatility in 2020. Here in late 2021, but look at the relative size of the weekly candles here. We can see how much more volatility we've had in the oil market over this past this past 6 months or so. But I'll come back to your question about where oil's going in the bigger picture, but certainly from a technical perspective at the moment, I've got some horizontal potential support zones on here. If oil in the shorter term is going to come down a bit, see my dotted line here, Alessio, that just comes in quite nicely with this old high here. I do like seeing, from a technical perspective, prices breaking through prior highs, and then at some point they will come back down to test them. So I'm starting to lean in the shorter term towards a bit more of a correction in oil prices as we've started to roll over. It had its chance to break out of this horizontal resistance, which links back to prior highs over here. So it had its chance. It's failed. It's broken this. I've got a trend line on my chart here. It broke the trend line. At the moment, I think the pressure in the shorter term is to the downside. But like you've said, even if we were to do a retracement there and to come down, and that would put us down into the $80. It's still not 80, but into the 80s, around about 85 or so. Even if we corrected to there, if I take us out to the monthly chart, the overall trend is still to the upside. So even if we retraced a bit more, you would still have to make that case that yes, we've come up to these old prior highs from back here, but this could just be a much needed rest for oil before going higher maybe at some point. And I always use the term until proven otherwise, the trend is up. Even if in the shorter term here, oil's going to cool off a bit for a while, but until proven otherwise, the trend remains up, will remain up, even if it comes down to $85. The overall trend will still be up. So we have to be cautious towards any retracements being just that until proven otherwise.
There's something you mentioned to me. I think look, if you want a daily chart, there's something interesting I think we talked about before, and it's on the daily chart that we can see it properly. Yeah, and that's the fact that oil broke that trend line you've drawn, that green trend line on your chart. Yeah, it broke it there, I think, in June, and it's retested it, like we can see it there. And I think we agree that that looks like a kissing the trend line goodbye, perhaps. What do you think about that?
Yeah, yeah, it was a nice trend line break. I'd had this on my chart. We had multiple tests. I call this my pebble on a pond, when you get multiple tests, as you know, Alessio, of a given level. So then it broke through it, retested, as you say, and it has done that kiss goodbye move. So although it may be bouncing at the point that we are recording, having this conversation here today, I'm still looking at this as for the time being, until proven otherwise in the short term, I'd still be I'm leaning towards the downside, especially as the nice thing is it's taken out this lows here and these lows here, hasn't even taken this low out yet. So I'd still like to see oil come down for that low, for that April low as well, at least take that. And then of course we've got my dotted line down here around about the $85 area. Yeah,
if you just remove those drawings for a second. Yeah, Charlie, I think you made a good point before as well, and I think you made it recently, that there's several tests at that level near 93, 95. So for me, I think that if that 93 level were to break in a sustained strong move below 93, I think it would increase the odds, but unless it's a false break, we shall see. But I think you're right. It's come now to that very important support, just around that 93, 95, the prior lows of March. By the way, if we just remove that chart for a second, Jordan, some people may definitely question and say, push back on us and say, how can you possibly, I mean, the objection I can see coming is people will say, how can you possibly talk about a drop in the price of oil or a cooling off or retracing the price of oil with all the wars going on, all this going on, and the economic background and inflation and things like that? Well, both you and I know the answer. First of all, you have to be a contrarian. I think you need to be somehow a contrarian. But if you look back in the year 2020, when the big crash occurred, I mean, we saw this just a few minutes ago, Charlie showed this, when the price of oil fell, almost to negative prices on the futures. The future oil prices were negative, fell hugely. Back at the time, I was saying I was bullish on the price of oil. I was expecting a rally back up, and people were laughing at me saying, how can you say this? We've got a pandemic on our hands. We've got a major economic recession. But the fact is, look, these things get priced in. You need to be thinking ahead, because the markets were already pricing in the fact that it was going to be a short-term thing and we're going to see a rally. You need to be a contrarian to some extent. We've seen a massive rally, again, overbought, overvalued prices on oil. That means if oil was to break those key levels of support, then it's possible probably we may see some cooling off. Would you agree with that, Charlie? I mean, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the point is if there's going to be a continued cooling of the global economy, it just means that there's going to be generally less demand for oil. So people will restrict their movements more, and so therefore there'll be less demand. And so that's partly why we're seeing oil coming off at the moment, because they're, market participants are starting to look. Market participants are always looking forwards, not back.
That's right.
They're looking at what the future may hold, and they're trying to place bets, if you will, if you want to use that word, on the future demand of things like commodities and stock prices, etc. So, if there is going to be a continued cooling of demand, then those people who are placing bets on continued drop in oil, they would obviously benefit from that. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Before we finish, guys, please check out Charlie's brand new service, his gold membership and his gold service, which you can, by the way, access for free. So you get a free trial of Charlie's gold membership, gold service on his Charlie Burton Trading on this website. You can see here on this link. Go to this link now, charlieburtontrading.com/LT gold, and then apply this particular code, LT 30 days, I'll give you a screenshot of what you can do this. On this screenshot, you can see you go to that checkout page and you apply the promo code LT30 days, and you get 30 days free access to Charlie's brand new service. Just a brief synopsis for everyone who may not be familiar with your service, Charlie.
Yeah,
what do you get involved?
It's a trading service. I've only actually been running this since March of this year. I've been in this space, as you know, for a long time. But yeah, they get full access. It's a proper trading community, and so I have a live online trading room whereby I'm leading the sessions 5 days a week, and we have specific sessions through the day, and people can log in anytime they want and for any of the sessions or all the sessions, and listen to me as I'm going through analysis, taking trades, you name it. I have a phone app, so if I take any trades and you get alerted to any trades or anything that I need to get out there. Bear in mind, I'm a fully regulated or authorized money manager here in the UK. They get full access. There's about 12 hours of material alone, just of all of the theory of all my strategies as well. These are strategies that I'm applying in the markets every week. So they're getting all of the theory, and they're getting live daily, analysis and education. Because within trading, it's one of those sort of things that it's very much a lonely business and people are on their own. But this is for people who really want to indulge in their trading education, but also see me taking trades and how I go about managing all of these trades as well. They don't have to be there all of the time. All of the training sessions and room training sessions are recorded anyway, so they can go in and pick up recordings and learn from what I've been doing when I've been doing my stuff during the day anyway. So yeah, there's a huge amount of content there.
So definitely, guys, all the risk right now is with Charlie, because he's giving you 30 days free access to his trading room and all of his gold service. So do check it out, give it a test drive. All right, guys. And by the way, that offer is going to be there for a limited time period, so take advantage of it now while you can. Thanks very much, Charlie. Really appreciate it.